Hello and welcome to Shauna Stitches, episode number 42. Today is June 9th, 2019, and I'm filming here in my house, in my craft room, here in the Pacific Northwest Oregon coast. As promised, I am back because I have not just one finished object, but I actually have two today. So, spoiler alert, I'm wearing one of them. Shocker. So let's just dive in. One thing real quick. Thank you so much if you are returning to watch this podcast and you've watched before. And also thank you if you're just checking me out for the first time. I hope you'll stick around. So yes, this shawl here is the first time I have ever knit my hand spun. I spun both of these using my Lendrum double treadle wheel that I got last September. And I probably should be fancy enough to be able to tell you the makeups of each of the yarns, but I don't quite remember. I think the top one here might be Targhee silk. That sounds right. And the one down here, the purple, all I remember about it is that it had tinsel in it. So it's kind of a shinier, little bit of a glossy looking end result, but I don't remember everything else. But if you really, really want to know, I do have project pages for all of my hand spun as well as my just regular project pages. So either way you can find it because the hand spun is linked to my project page on Ravelry. You'll find me there under Shauna Stitches as well. I forgot to tell you guys last time, but I'll say it this time. You can find me where I'm most active, which is on Instagram. And again, every single note, everything is on Ravelry. So if you have questions I don't answer, that's a great place to check. All right, so I don't know that I can back up too far here, but yes, there is the tip of one finger and the tip of the other. So it's not quite my wingspan. You can see when I hold it out like that, it kind of folds over. It measured, after blocking, 58 inches across and 25 inches deep. I did aggressively block this because you'll see this section here is just garter stitch, so it's nice and open. And after the garter stitch, there is this texture panel, which is also nice and blocked. And then the edging is, I think, technically a broken rib. But I should tell you, I don't know the exact name of what this shawl is going to be called. It's a test knit for Mina Philipp. Right now it is called the Simple Texture Handspun Shawl. That may change. I don't know. She was asking for name suggestions. I threw a couple in the hat. So we'll see if one of those gets picked or if it stays Simple Texture Handspun Shawl. But either way, it's beautiful. I love it. I do wish it was bigger, and the only reason it isn't bigger is because it's my fault. She has the pattern written so great because you can adapt it to really any weight of yarn, any yardage of yarn. You can just keep on going and make each section as big as you want. That being said, I used all but this much. Oh, my phone's ringing. Hold on. And we're back. That was Glenn. Anyway, so I used all but this much, this little pea-sized, maybe it's more like a marble size amount of yarn for the top color. And this doesn't even weigh a gram. It's like nothing. And I used all but 4 grams of this one. And honestly, I bound off 382 stitches, something like that. So there was no way. I would have had to do 2 more rows plus the bind off. Like, this was not enough. I was averaging about 3 grams per row at the end. And I know they say, especially for a stretchy bind off, which is what I used, you want to save approximately 3 times the amount of yarn. So anyway, that was good. No idea what that will be. Maybe a square or a row in a crochet blanket or something like that. And I think that's all I have to say about this. I knit it on the size needles that Mina recommended, which was a 4mm US 6. And the weight of the yarn, I should say, this one, you'll notice, is really, really, really thin. It's actually like a lace weight, but I held it double, and that was approximately a sport weight. Somewhere fingering to sport. And then the darker yarn was more on the sport side, and that one I did not have to hold double. Also, just as a side note, do you guys see how great these colors match? Like, that was not planned. That's just amazing. Like, the planets aligned, because this color I bought this when I only had just my drop spindle and I wanted to spin, but I didn't know what I was doing. And Glenn bought me this fiber this last Christmas. So totally unplanned, but they work so well together and I absolutely love it. I would definitely knit this pattern again. So when it comes out, if you guys are interested, especially for hand spun, I felt that this worked so well with hand spun because I know I told you guys that this yarn was very, very even. This yarn, not so even. I don't know if I'll be able to find a spot where it's a little chunkier, but it definitely had a lot more variance, and you can even see in the ball here, like some of it is just thicker and more loosely plied, but it still looks beautiful. So I truly do think that that's credit to the pattern. It would look beautiful in hand-dyed yarn or commercial yarn also, but it really does work quite nice for the hand spun. All right, finished object number 2 is a pair of, well, they're a mishmash of patterns. They're a pair of socks for Glenn. It's the Blueberry Waffles stitch pattern with a vanilla is the new black heel. So you can see you kind of get this just stockinette, no pattern where the heel starts. This is a top-down heel. They do have a toe-up version, but I haven't tried it yet. And this yarn is very, very special. I will try to find a picture to insert here so you can see what it looked like, but I hand dyed this sock blank, and I actually wrote on the sock blank using dye, and these are Glenn's wedding socks. I'm hoping that he'll wear them for the wedding. I don't know. I mean, they don't match the wedding colors at all, but who's going to see his socks, right? But even if he doesn't wear them for the wedding, I know the sentiment is still there. He's still going to love them. But anyway, I'm calling these his wedding socks because the sock blank, I wrote our wedding date, and I wrote kind of like our wedding hashtag, which is a thing now apparently, which is Meet the Stelsons. So across the sock blank it said Meet the Stelsons in different colors. And then, so the writing was majority in these different blues. There's like 3 different blues in here, if I remember right. There's a darker blue, a lighter blue, and then kind of like a teal color. And then anywhere I had white space, I would put little kind of polka dots of a red and an orange. I did run out of yarn for these. If you'll notice, the toes look slightly different than the rest. And I say only slightly because it is a close match. Obviously, this yarn that I used for the toe, which, by the way, the sock blank was not even. One strand, like this one, I have maybe this many rows right here in that color. This one, I had to start like, see, where is it? Right here. So I don't understand that. It was a, what do you call it? A double stranded sock blank. And yet they were very different lengths. Also, it's the first time I have ever run out of yarn for a sock for Glenn. Now I have put in contrasting heels, cuffs, and toes. I've done all that, but I've also gotten full-length socks for him without running out of yarn, all in one color. So I don't really know what happened. This isn't particularly thick yarn, so maybe the sock blank wasn't quite 100 grams. I don't know. but I am quite happy with them. I did dye a second sock blank, exactly the same information with our wedding date and Meet the Stelsons on it again. But I used predominantly the red and the red and orange. But I think I used pink too. It's been a while. Red, orange, pink, and then I polka dotted the darker colors. And I think I'll knit those on our honeymoon. But anyway, that'll be cool. So he has yet to try them on. I have not washed these. So as they say with sock blanks, you get kind of like a little bit of uneven stitches, but it did not bother me at all. The way I tension my yarn, you can see I still have like a little divot in my finger right across here. I tension my yarn pretty, like I'm trying to strangle it or something. Like there's a lot of tension there. It does not hurt my finger, just in case you're curious. I've never cut my finger or had it be sore or anything like that. It's just the way I loop it around my finger and then across there. It leaves a little mark. But so I think that helped with the crinkliness of the yarn because there was a lot of tension. Just in case you're curious, this is the color that I used for the little bits of the toes. If you've seen an older episode, I'm pretty sure I did show these. This was yarn from a pair of socks that I knit the last time we went to Mexico. So I believe this was the May monthly colorway by Candy Skein Yarn, my friend Tammy, and the color is called Pinata. And it was the closest match of anything I had in my stash, especially something that was already caked up. So those are finished objects. What's next? So I showed you guys some fiber on some bobbins last week and told you that I was going to do some sock yarn. So I have completed my yarn. This is 2 cakes of traditional 3-ply fingering weight. It did come out to be fingering weight, especially after I washed it. I thought it was going to be a little thin, but after washing, it actually plumped up to a very full fingering weight. Oops, and I just dropped one. So anyway, there's a bit of story to this yarn, but first I'm going to show you that I did chain ply what I had left on 2 bobbins because obviously all 3 were not equal. And I have to say, I love the feel, the look, everything better about how I did my chain plying versus my traditional 3-ply. And that has all to do with the amount of twist. I'm really concerned I added too much twist to this, although I have had somebody, Tammy, my friend, who owns Candy Skein, she looked at it this last Friday. She is much more familiar with handspun than I am. And she says because the handspun just kind of hangs there, it's not doing anything too crazy, that it should be just fine. But the reason I was concerned about it being too much twist in there is because I initially started trying to knit 2 at a time, toe up, from 1 cake. So these were all one, and I was pulling from the inside and the outside. And the inside strand seemed to be just fine, but the outside strand seemed to be that the way it was wound up was the same way that the twist was on there. So it was like adding more twist, and it was a nightmare. It was a huge knot, and I didn't get very far. I didn't even get a picture taken. I was not happy because, you just go through this much work to spin 3 plies and then ply those 3 plies together, and then it's just not coming out the way that you imagine they would be. So that was pretty upsetting. I really, really, really did not want to divide these because I'm normally not a divider of yarn, but I really want to use every last bit. So the problem I have with that is I know there's no possible human way that all 3 plies are exactly equal throughout, that they weigh the same. So although these 2 cakes are both 48 grams, there's no way that the exact same yardage is in both. So I don't know. That being said, whenever I run out, the chain ply will be added to the top. I have heard so many mixed things about chain plying yarn. One being never make socks out of chain plied yarn because you'll feel, it's not really that you make a knot, but where you're basically making a crochet chain where the chain loops is, it might feel like a little knot or a bump. That being said, I don't feel like this is too bad, but then I know people make socks with handspun yarn, so I think it truly is just personal preference. But I did save this to use specifically at the top because it won't be on my feet, so it won't matter at all. But that being said, I really, really, really want my next sock yarn, I think, to be chain plied, just because, I don't know, or just less twist. I don't know. It's still a work in progress. I'm really tempted to start spinning for another pair of socks, but I know truly I need to knit with this first to really see how it is, to know what, if anything, needs to be changed for next time. So that's the process of spinning. It just takes a lot longer. I love it. I love it. But it's not the same as going to the store or online and ordering some yarn and casting on. It's a process, and I think it's a really fun process. It's just much more time consuming. That being said, I have some fiber to show you. This is like the candy skein episode because I got this at Candy Skein. Shocker. We have knit night there every Friday night, so I shop there. Plus, she's my friend. So anyway, this is Greenwood fiber. Greenwood. Doesn't say. Just says Greenwood. Anyway, this is a merino parfait, 4 ounces, 100% wool. This is the color Hawaii, which, oh my goodness, I know you've got some glare, but I can tell you it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Purples, fuchsia, teal, white. It's just so beautiful. And the second one is also Greenwood, also the merino parfait, 4 ounces, 100% wool in the color Posies. And this is fuchsias and purples and creams. And so my thought is, I have never done a combo spin, and I think these would be beautiful together. So for those of you who don't know, I don't really know, but I'll tell you what I do know, is a combo spin is combining more than one fiber. And it doesn't have to be like type of fiber, but color fiber, braid of fiber, bat, whatever you want to call it. Just more than one different fiber together. So there's a couple, well, there's probably a zillion different ways I could do that. And I haven't decided how I'm going to do that yet because I'm a little concerned it might get muddy. But for those of you who are spinners, who might have some knowledge on this, I would love to know, how would you go about combo spinning this? The two ways I'm thinking about is just spinning a single of this one, spinning a single of this one, and two-plying it. So then it would just mix together just like this. And obviously you're going to have overlap in colors because there's very similar colors between the two. Or I could split my fiber lengthways into very tiny, like pencil roving style. Although I don't know how this is going to split up, to be honest. I've never worked with a fiber like this. But anyway, split it into those thin little pieces and then hold two pieces together and spin them at the same time. Or I could take little chunks at a time of each color and spin that. Like, honestly, I think the options are endless. But I do know I love this. My original thought was a pair of handspun socks. So obviously the two-ply spinning this and spinning this would not work. And if that's the case, then I'm thinking to chain ply whatever I come up with as one long single, chain ply it all. I don't know. Who knows? That's my thought. I meant to bring in here another project that I think I'm going to be working on next, in addition to my handspun socks that I haven't cast on yet. So I'm going to go grab that. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. This project I have in my Tammy Casey bag, which is so pretty. I can't think of the name of this fabric. You guys are all screaming it, I know. Anyway, super popular fabric. I saw they have like Keds or something made out of this. Rifle Paper Company, that's it. I love it, love it. It has a waxed canvas bottom, very nice. This project is real close to being done. I'm going to try and show you. It's still on the needles. And it is very wrinkly because it's been shoved in a bag for a while. So this thing that you can't see here, this is a pavement sweater that you can see is almost finished, because I'm even to the point of like creating that little hem that like scoops up on the side. That's the side I'm showing you there, by the way. But it's on very small needles at the moment. So this is really close to being done, and honestly, I should have finished the bottom. The reason this was almost finished and just set aside for a very long time is because I am spoiled rotten and decide that I only like to do sleeves on 9-inch circulars, and I didn't have any in the size that I needed for this. So I ordered them and it took a while, so I set this aside and just didn't pick it up again. But it's so darn close to being finished. I am knitting this out of Holst Garn, I think it's Coast, yes, Coast, in the color Fig. I don't remember how many balls I've used now. I think I had 4 to start, so I think this is the 4th. This would be the 3rd, which still has quite a bit of yarn left in it. More than enough for the sleeves that I need. And it's my first time using Holst Garn Coast. I really like it. I wish I had my swatch in here, but I don't. You'll see this fabric. Of course, the pavement is supposed to look kind of loose and airy anyway. It's see-through. You can see me through it. But once you wash it, it does tighten up quite a bit, which is why I had to add, well, let's see, I think I'm knitting the large and it's supposed to come out as a medium, or I'm knitting the extra large and it's supposed to come out as a large. I don't quite remember, but I do know I had to go for my gauge. I did gauge swatch. I had to go up in order to get the size. So I'm knitting quite a lot of stitches. I've knitted it very long. I don't remember how long. Look at all those stitch markers. Have a rainbow. Yeah, so those of you who know, it is Stash Dash, and those of you who don't, it is Stash Dash. So I think I have over 2,000 meters now. I've never really set out to like get a huge goal for Stash Dash, but this year I am kind of going for it, because this shawl alone was over 900 meters, I believe, because the lighter color was held double, so it got me extra meterage. And you know, spinning yarn gets you a ton too, especially a 3-ply. So I'm doing pretty good. I haven't set a goal yet. I'm thinking 10,000, but I think that's also crazy. So who knows? Anyway, I'll be picking this back up, and maybe it will be the next finished object that you see. Who knows, right? Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. This has definitely been a little bit longer than last time, but yet still keeping it shorter than some podcasts are. I do appreciate you guys watching. I don't really have a lot of life stuff to talk about this episode, but if there is, I will gladly fill you in. So until next time, guys, I will be back when I have a new FO to show you. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!